Help me to reach 2,000 subscribers. The sound of retching hit me before I even reached the alley. My phone's flashlight sliced through the dark, revealing my boss, Sophia, slumped against the brick wall, her sequined dress soaked near the hem, her hand weakly clutching her clutch bag as if it could hold her dignity together. "God, Sophia," I muttered, stepping closer. "You're going to get yourself killed like this." She blinked up at me, eyes unfocused, her red lipstick smeared across her cheek. "Liam." Her voice cracked. "You came. I told you I'd make sure you got home safe." I slipped her arm around my shoulder, the scent of perfume and gin sharp in the air. "Of course you did," she slurred, half smiling. "That's what good men do." Her words lingered. Because the truth was, I wasn't sure I was one anymore. Not since my wife left a year ago, taking half my life and all my self-respect with her. I was just trying to keep things together, for my daughter, for work, for whatever was left of me. Sophia was my boss, but lately she'd been more, too much, maybe. Late-night texts that started as urgent reports, then drifted into personal questions. Compliments that felt less like praise and more like something she shouldn't say to a subordinate. And I, pathetic, lonely me, never stopped her. As I guided her into the cab, her head fell onto my shoulder. "You smell safe," she murmured. I froze. My ex-wife used to say the same thing when she was falling asleep next to me. I didn't reply. When we reached her apartment, she stumbled through the door, and before I could leave, she grabbed my wrist. Her eyes, now heavy-lidded but suddenly clear, locked on mine. "Don't go," she whispered. "Sophia. Please. Just stay until I fall asleep." I hesitated, then nodded. I sat on the edge of her couch, listening to her breathing slow, her perfume lingering in the air like temptation. I told myself it was harmless. She was drunk. Vulnerable. I wasn't that kind of man. At least, that's what I told myself. But the next morning, when I showed up to work, she was already there. Sober. Composed. Wearing that same perfume. And when she walked past my desk, she didn't pretend to forget. "Morning, Liam," she said softly, almost teasing. "About last night." I looked up sharply. "You remember?" Her lips curved into a knowing smile. "Every second." My heart sank. Because suddenly, I wasn't sure what every second meant. 4 days, she treated me differently. Subtle, but enough to notice. She lingered by my desk, brushed my shoulder when she passed, praised me in meetings for things I barely did. My co-workers noticed too. Some gave knowing smirks. Others avoided me altogether. Then came the whispers. That I'd slept with her to get a promotion. That I was her favorite. I tried to ignore them. Tried to convince myself it didn't matter. But the guilt gnawed at me, because even if nothing happened that night, part of me wanted it to. One evening, after most of the office had cleared out, she asked me to stay. "I need to talk," she said. Her tone wasn't professional. When the others were gone, she shut her office door and leaned against it. "I can't stop thinking about you," she confessed. I swallowed hard. "Sophia, this isn't wrong." She stepped closer, her voice a low whisper. "Maybe. But I know you felt something too." Her hand brushed my arm, and I didn't move. I should have. But her words cut through me, tearing open something I thought had healed. Because for a moment, I wanted to believe her. Then my phone buzzed. It was my daughter. A selfie with her mother. My ex-wife smiling with a man's arm wrapped around her waist. And suddenly, I couldn't breathe. Sophia saw the look on my face. "What is it?" I turned the screen toward her. "That's my ex. She's getting married. I didn't even know." Her eyes softened. "Liam, I'm sorry." "Don't be," I said bitterly. She moved on. I should have expected it. Sophia hesitated, then placed her hand over mine. "You deserve someone who sees you, Liam. Who actually wants you." The words should have comforted me, but they twisted instead. Because for all her empathy, there was calculation behind her gaze, something hungry, possessive. And that's when I realized, she wasn't offering comfort. She was claiming me. Is that what this is? I asked quietly. You see me as yours. She blinked. I don't know what you mean. I stood, shaking my head. You do. You've been using last night to get control over me. Her face hardened. Careful, Liam. You wouldn't want to make enemies in this company. There it was. The threat beneath the tenderness. For a moment, we just stared at each other, the air thick with everything unspoken. Then I walked out, heart pounding, hands trembling. I didn't go to work the next day. Or the one after. But when I finally did, I found a new email waiting. From HR. Subject: formal complaint, professional misconduct allegation. She'd beaten me to it. My chest went cold. My daughter's face flashed in my mind, how I'd promised her I'd never screw up again. But there it was. Betrayal wearing a perfume I could still smell on my clothes. I met Sophia that afternoon in the HR office. She looked calm, polished, untouchable. I saw the faintest flicker of satisfaction in her eyes as she spoke. I'm afraid Liam behaved inappropriately after a company event, she said smoothly. I thought it best to report it before it escalated. I clenched my fists under the table. My voice shook, but I kept it steady. I didn't touch you. I helped you. Of course you did, she said, her tone dripping with false sweetness. That's what good men do. The same words she'd said in the alley. And in that moment, I finally understood. I hadn't been her savior. I'd been her story. Her weapon. By the time the truth came out, after witnesses, after footage from the club, the damage was done. My reputation. My career. My peace. She resigned quietly a week later. No apologies. No explanations. That night, as I sat beside my sleeping daughter, her small hand resting on mine, I thought about betrayal. How sometimes it doesn't come from the people who leave you, but the ones who pretend to need saving. And for the first time in a long while, I understood that being a good man isn't about rescuing others. It's about finally rescuing yourself.